You know, when we talk about mental health, we usually discuss teens, we usually discuss adults, but toddlers should also be monitored as far as their mental health is concerned. Now, experts say that the ages between 3 and 5 years old are the critical development stages. Let's discuss this now with Anne-Marie de Beer, as she is from the Nutrition, Health and Wellness Management at Nestle. She joins us this morning. Anne-Marie, good to have you with us on the SA Morning. When we talk about mental health in toddlers, how exactly does it exhibit itself? I guess it's a bit difficult because they don't have the vocabulary to verse out and to say how it is that they feel.
That's very true, and I think it's often overlooked because they are not heard necessarily. So very often these kids will just be not what they used to be. I think moms normally can pick it up. Sometimes behavior problems, sometimes they just want to sleep, or they want to just be alone. And we need to be very careful of that. And often that's related to the nutrition. So, you know, we have to think about this in two ways, that the physical health as well as the mental health goes hand in hand in toddlers specifically because they grow so fast, because the brain grows so fast. They really don't often have the ability to tell us that they're not feeling well.
So, as you rightly said, there can be so many factors that actually influence a child's emotional and mental state. There could be, social environments and changes therein that actually adversely affect the child. But you touched on nutrition as well. What is the link between nutrition and mental health? The link between, I guess, digestive health and the brain?
So there's two things that actually plays a role. The one is definitely digestive health, and we talk about the gut microbiome. And we've learned now that the bacteria in the gut actually impacts directly on mental health well-being. And there's quite a number of studies going on at the moment that looks at what's in the gut in terms of the bacteria. Remember, we've got more bacteria in the gut than what we actually have cells of. And you want healthy, good bacteria in the gut because the healthier the microbiome, we know the healthier the children are and even adults, but also the impact it has on mental health. That's the one part. The other part is micronutrients, so in general nutrition. So one of the interesting things is that we know that children that are iron deficient often present with behavior problems. And we don't make that link, and we treat them for all sorts of things, but in the end, it could be something as simple as a micronutrient deficiency like either zinc or even iron. So both of these elements play a very key role. So as parents, we can make sure that at least the microbiome is fed properly, as well as that the kids are fed properly in terms of the micronutrients, things like iron and vitamins, all of those things, as well as the macronutrients, which is the protein that they need, and fat and energy.
Anne-Marie, you speak about behavioral problems or symptoms that exhibit themselves in changes in behavior. What type of behavior are you alluding to here? What are the signs?
So very often it could be things that the kids don't sit still. They can't concentrate for a long period. And this is very often that we see that with things like iron deficiency. If you think about iron deficiency, iron is a very important mineral. It's actually needed to carry oxygen to every single cell in the body. Now, that includes the brain. When the brain doesn't get oxygen, the child can't, or the person can't actually concentrate. So we see that when they started something, they don't stop it. They can't sit still. They're busy all the time. And very often we see that as just a busy child. But it's very important that we actually look at what these children are eating to make sure that it is in fact not a micronutrient deficiency.
I'm wondering, because in adults, if you are iron deficient, you tend to be lethargic, you want to sleep all the time. Is there a difference then in the symptoms for iron deficiency in adults versus children?
It seems like that. Because the kids are also, normally they're in a nursery school or in school already by then, so they have to sit still and they have to concentrate. And teachers will tell you, well, the kids are not concentrating. So the way that they present is very different to what adults do. And we must also understand that iron deficiency comes over a long period of time. So by the time kids are tired and they only want to sleep, you actually have a severe iron deficiency on your hands already. So in the uptake to that, all of these behavior problems is something that we often see.
I really like the direction of this, because oftentimes when we see behavioral problems or shifts in children, you'll think maybe it's a social problem. But you're saying here, before we even start tackling what may be the external issues or the external stimulants, it's best we look at what's actually inside the child's body and their nutrition. So what would be the most optimal diet then for toddlers?
This is often, I think, a question that very many moms have, because toddlers are also very particular as to what they eat. But what I often recommend to parents is just to make sure that the kids actually have a variety of foods. Variety is really very, very important, because the bigger the variety, the more sure we are that these kids are actually getting the nutrients that they need. That also helps us to know that the kids are having a healthy microbiome. So very importantly, they need fruits and vegetables. They need protein. Remember, protein is really a source of iron. And as much as there might be iron in spinach and maybe in some broccoli, it's not absorbable. So we can't expect our children to eat cups and cups of veggies. That's not going to give them, by example, the iron that they need. So variety is very important. And then I think something that we often overlook is the importance of dairy. Now, something like a Nido 3 Plus, a milk that is fortified or a drink that is fortified with the micronutrients is very important, because that actually helps them and gives moms at least peace of mind that the kids are getting these micronutrients that they need. So I think in summary, it's a variety, and make sure that when the kids are actually drinking milk or a dairy product, that it is fortified. And like I've mentioned, something like a Nido 3 Plus is already a fortified drink that we can give to children.
And what impact can an overindulgence in sweets and other junk food actually have on children? I'm thinking here about the blood sugar levels and how that rather may impact the young ones.
Yes, of course, that's going to do that. And this is very important. Like in adults, when you eat something that is very high in sugar, very easily absorbed, you're going to get a spike in your blood sugar levels. And then you will have a dip, and that will make you feel lethargic and you might not feel well. So the same thing happens to kids. And that's why we are really recommending small, frequent meals throughout the day. And I mean, there are times when kids are going to go to a birthday party and they're going to indulge in something or too much sugary things. And that might be okay for once or twice, but it must not be the rule. So my recommendation also is that even going to a birthday party, before you go there, is just give the child something to eat. It could be a slice of bread with some peanut butter on it, just something to actually fill them up before they actually start indulging in the cakes and the sweets. And normally it's the sweets that's the problem. But yeah, that way you can actually help to limit the rise and the peaks of the sugar levels.
Some really sage advice. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Anna-Marie. That's Anna-Marie de Beer. She is the Manager for Nutrition, Health and Wellness at Nestle.